Here's the deal. We only got background people today. Trying to see who was paying attention to the community time today. Was anybody else? Was anybody else paying attention to the story about Brianna Taylor? Seems like in the last couple of days, a little bit of new information has come out in terms of the grand jury. It's one of them things where it kind of illustrates the fact that we're not paying attention to the real details sometimes. Like we get caught up, we got caught up in the science of somebody got arrested. Melissa Davis, Latif. Well, nah, they wasn't all white. The story that I read, well, first of all, um, the district attorney was black. VC Realm, the district attorney was black. And uh, two jurors came forward to say that he told some untruths there. So Melissa Davis was saying she didn't pay attention what's going on. Apparently, in the story, the district attorney came out. I guess he had a press conference or something, and he made a statement about Breonna Taylor that the the grand jury chose not to indict him for murder, or chose not to indict any of the officers for murder. But then two jurors, one black man and one white man, came out and said that they never was presented the option to bring back a verdict for indictment for murder. One of them said that he even asked, like the way you described everything right there. Aren't you going to tell us, which level of murder? You know what I'm saying? Meaning, murder one, murder two, homicide, negligent homicide, whatever it might be. What is the charge that we supposed to return on that? And they said that the district attorney said, well, nah, none of those charges could be proven. None of those charges, we can't take those to trial. So when it said that the jury didn't indict anybody for her murder, the reality was they was never presented with the option when they was given the instructions that these is the indictments that you could return, that the reckless endangerment for the bullets that went through the walls into other people's houses, I guess, was the only charges that they had on the table, which presents an issue that is not new, in terms of when the cop has to be indicted, in this case has to be, um, the case has to be adjudicated through all the levels, the indictment, if it's a trial, et cetera, right? That these people work together. meaning the police and the district attorney. So from level one, right, when you sending the police out to investigate, like the police is who have to investigate, that's who has to collect the evidence against one of their own that they work with all the time. And then, when it gets to the court, the district attorney also, he has to work with the police department. So, what kind of solution could we come up for that situation where, at the end of the day, we see that the district attorney is half-assing the case. There was an old saying. I don't know if it's still popular, but there's an old saying where they said, "Look, you can indict a ham sandwich." Apparently, that's not the case when it comes to the police. But did anybody else notice that story? Whether you saw it in the community tab or whether you saw it on your own. I guess not. Has there been any developments in any of the other cases? From George Floyd to Ahmaud Arbery. I seen the dude from the Kyle Rittenhouse dude. He's taking pictures. So I teach so you can indict a ham sandwich, but you can't indict a pig. I guess that's true. The only solution that I've thought of is that the the family, I guess, or some public, somebody, when I say somebody, I mean somebody of citizens, I'm saying, civilian citizens have to be able to appoint, an attorney that does not work for the government, um, to conduct these cases or something. I don't know exactly how that would work out, constitutionally, procedurally, um, according to how cases are supposed to be tried, but I don't really see another option. Alyssa Davis said the only solution is to pay for a better lawyer. But see, the situation right now is that the because I agree with you what you say in terms of if the family can appoint their own lawyer, like they could go out there and get whoever is the Johnny Cochran, whoever is the Johnny Cochran right now. You know what I'm saying? Definitely don't get Crump. Do not get Crump. But some whoever the family decides, like this person right here, we think they will represent our interests. Because it's a lot of things that's involved, right? Our chief and special counsel selected by the people. Because see, one thing is when, everybody's reputation is kind of on the line. I mean, you got the district attorney, right, who is already working with the district attorney is already working with the police. So if they uh, go hard with a case and they expose an environment within the police where things is not going right and exact, then that calls into question all of the cases that they've been trying. Like anytime you have a corrupt officer or a corrupt district attorney, right? They have to review all of their cases, plays ball. They have to review all of their cases. Shocking, you know, to see if any of those people, was wrongfully convicted based on, a corrupt situation that's going on. And so to a certain degree, they're trying to protect the system that they're a part of. He said, who is the Johnny Cochran of the 2020s? That's a good question. Uh, all I can tell you is stay away from Trump. Yeah, you know how the notifications is for me, man. Everybody got to just do the each one, teach one. Hit the like button, share it on your other pages. Uh, YouTube is not going to show the Random Jews channel, but so much love. But Self-I Bill, what we was discussing is that in the Brianna Taylor case, there's been some type of development now where uh, the some of the jurors that was on the grand jury have come out and said that they was never presented with the option that when they was given the instructions that these are the charges that you could return an indictment on, that murder was not in it. So when the district attorney, apparently he had some type of press conference or something where he came out and they asked him about it, and he said, well, the jury didn't return a verdict on that. One jury member said that he asked the district attorney, well, what kind of murder charge, whether it's going to be, murder one, murder two, negligent homicide, however the laws go in Kentucky. That he said, nah, those charges, we can't take those to trial. That the only thing you can consider bringing the indictment back on is the reckless endangerment for the bullets that went into other people's house. See, knowledge of law. This is put one in the W column for knowledge of law. See, because knowledge, you always say, these people is corrupt and they ain't never going to do right, and we had to be aware of who their allegiance is with. Because to me, that was something that was very shocking. I mean, not very shocking, but that the district attorney was black. See, you sleeping on Johnny Cochran. I too said I feel like Johnny Cochran was good, but I feel that it was more so OJ had power, hence the pool boy didn't snitch. And he had those other lawyers too, and the prosecutors dropped the ball. OJ got acquitted because if the gloves doesn't fit, you must acquit. You could bring up those other lawyers if you want, but even those other lawyers say that, I played my role, but Johnny was the leader. What you say here, VC Ron? The other cases would be, I don't know his whole start that he got, but I know Johnny Cochran, he made his name defending the Panthers in LA in the 70s. Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Phallus are always showing out for the color man. Black man showing his teeth once again. He then looks similar to Pamela Harris. I mean, I wonder, and this is the kind of thing, it's funny that you bring her name up, but this is the kind of thing that Kamala Harris, yeah, you need to say something. She like right now, if something goes on, if something goes on with Israel, then you see the Jewish members of Congress and the Senate, you see them, they speak out on that. There was a situation in New York where it was a brother, what was that brother's name? Damn, I can't remember his brother's name. The police killed him in, was it Pink Houses? I think it was in the Pink Houses. And it was a situation where the cop was supposed to be patrolling through the floors. You know what I'm saying? Uh, the cop was patrolling through the floors, and I'm gonna get to why I disagree with the statement that you made in a minute, Atif. But the cops was patrolling through the floors, and uh, it was a dude and his girl. They came into they was just walking down the steps, and the cop got scared or something, and he started shooting, right? And uh, the brother got hit, and he ended up returning to the essence, right? And as the case was developing, and people were saying that this cop killed his brother for no reason, the cop happened to be Asian. And do you know that the Asian people stood up and said, listen, the way y'all coming at him over doing this is discrimination against Asians? Just showing you how other, how other people pay attention to these things and the way they see them. But you saying that, not saying Johnny wasn't big time, saying not many would have gotten that type of verdict. I mean, well, yeah, you kind of taking off of you kind of taking off of Johnny Cochran shine right there. When you saying it wasn't really him, it was OJ. Now the reason why I disagree with you is because we see different situations. Like for instance, with Harvey Weinstein, when it first came out, you have people like Oprah and all of them saying, well, we don't know him like that. I don't know if he did that, but no, that's not the Harvey that I know. How many people came out and spoke like that for OJ? I'll wait. Like we talking about the same OJ who ran out of money in the midst of the case. So when you said OJ have power, what do you mean by power? And who does he have pictures of where they decided, listen, we're gonna have to let OJ off before he exposed that, before he exposed that I'll be cross dressing. And why didn't what happened to that power? Like why that power didn't help him in the civil case? Why that power didn't help him to keep all of these stories suppressed? What was his power to keep all of these stories suppressed? All of these different movies that came out about his guilt. Because see, people with power, that's what happens. These things disappear. So that's why I would disagree with you that the outcome of that case had anything to do with OJ's power. I will admit that him initially having the money to secure those levels of lawyers, everybody don't have access to that. So Bill said Obama was shook. He never spoke out. I don't see Kamala doing it either. We know that they under strict rules and regulations can't wait on mystery politicians to save us. We got to do for self. Yeah, but see, part of doing for self, right, is learning how to play the game. And so, see, the same way she played the black woman card to get in the office, you got to call on that. You got to embarrass her. See, a person in certain positions cannot be made to look ridiculous. She called her out and let her know you a hypocrite, right? If you're gonna play this girl power card, right? You're gonna play this black girl magic card, but you ain't gonna say nothing about this situation right here. Like you need to call in the special, the federal, call in the feds to check this out. What happened here? Of course, the feds is probably gonna come in and say, we didn't find no wrongdoing, but the silence is deafening. So if our bill said, what's in our sphere of control we can't work on? Examples, financial discipline, exercise and teach babies, poor resources. Devil gonna do devilish, man. What do God do? These devils, wisdom, they coach it. They do. But you gotta see where, see, there's certain weak spots, right? In uh, the kind of the methods that they use for control. And that's one of the weak spots. When you can throw some truth out there with the information, with the misinformation and the disinformation and the propaganda that they throw out there, see, when you can get that truth out there, when it can, listen, what they call Black Twitter and Black YouTube was having an impact at one point. This is the people I keep asking, like, okay, where's these people at now that was making so much noise that they caused reparations to be an issue, at least during the Democratic primary, where they couldn't get on the stage without saying that they was for reparations. Remember, they made Kamala Harris, right? When they first asked her, well, what about reparations? She was like, yeah, well, I can't do nothing for black people. But they made it so much of an issue, especially when everybody else said, nah, we for reparations. They forced their hand and embarrassed her into saying that. So I'm saying by the same token, like this is one of the things that, a lot of people that were strong advocates of voting, this was one of the points that they was making, is that, we know that Biden and Harris is not the best, but when they get in there, we're going to hold them accountable. This is a place where they need to be held accountable. You know what I'm saying? Because the situation in and of itself, what happened to Brianna Taylor, that's already bad enough. But I'm saying it's not that one thing. It's systemic. And so sometimes, yeah, we got to go through these issues, one by one sometimes. You can show up with a whole list of demands, but they still got to go through them one by one. So in this situation right here, okay, full stop. Just like I said, you passed 30 resolutions. I ain't seen none for black people yet. Full stop. We don't have the luxury of giving them a year to do what they got to do. And they may not have the luxury neither, because when is the next election? In 2 years, you know what I'm saying? Within the next couple of years, they're going to be going back to vote for the Senate again. So then what happens if the Republicans take back over? Then they're going to be using the excuse, well, we couldn't do what we want to do because the Senate was Republican. So now's the time to let her know. If you're going to play the black girl magic card, then what's going on with the little sister right there? What just happened? How's this going on? This is in your wheelhouse, Kamala. This is in your wheelhouse. You spent years. You spent years as a district attorney. So if you really about all this reform that you're talking about, what you got to say about this? Listen, David said, what's up with the no knock? Man, come on. They secure the outcome yet again. All they do is rewrite the rules to benefit themselves. I mean, I don't even think they rewrite them. What they do It's something called, like, if they do something wrong, right? The word for it is they then codify it, meaning they put it into the legal code, okay? And then they might put a stipulation on it. Well, you know, we're gonna reform this. You gotta get a certain letter from a particular court, but then the court is gonna rubber stamp it, and so you end up still getting the no knock bans. Or we didn't realize that that was wrong, or this is the way we was doing things because of this, but now that we know that, so now we're not gonna change the practice. We're gonna write rules around the practice, right, in order to legitimize it. So now it's like, okay, well, what we did wasn't wrong. It was just that the way we did it, we didn't get enough approval. You know, the system is working perfectly. That's my understanding. Is that the system is working perfectly. You don't have something happen for 150 years. 175 years. In New York, the police been around since 1845, and they've been brutalizing brothers the whole time. You don't have something happen since 1845, and it's by accident. They're not beating down white women by accident. See, you know how you could tell is, listen, in the black community, right? Unemployment has been at uh, higher levels. Like, does anybody have a number on that? What's the national unemployment rate right now? I'm saying, due to the COVID-19 and everything, what's the national unemployment rate? You know, I don't know right now, but I'm a little bit of a gambling man. Where I say, I'll bet it's lower than what the average unemployment rate in the black community has been for the last 50 years. But see, you don't mobilize trillions of dollars, meaning you don't do stimulus packages where everybody get a check like you did, right? Or like you doing right now. That kind of rate is showing up in white communities. See, the whole nation can go into debt. We can mobilize the National Guard and all of that. When, this level of unemployment goes into their community. And how many epidemics do we have? Health epidemics, I'm saying. Like, you still ain't fix the water in Flint. But see, we can invoke all types of constitutional emergencies, right, over COVID because it's affecting you too. So to me, that's telling me that everything is working perfectly because you ain't really doing nothing to change it. Nah, see, Atif, with the district attorneys in general, they not the sharpest knives. You said right here that people lost love for OJ. Uh, However, Johnny did do a masterful job, but we would also have to admit the mistakes that the prosecution made were glaring. Here's the thing: you don't work at the district attorney because you're a masterful and you're a masterful legal. That's not why you work at the district attorney's office. You work there because you can't go into private practice. And people, they might go on a district attorney when they first get out of college. But Murray Richmond is not about to go down to Ron Kuby is not about to go over to to the district attorney office and get no job. Mark Garrigo's dudes that's getting the big money, they're not going to the district attorney. Those how many district attorneys? We're talking about attorney generals, people who they get a lot of times from these big firms. How many district attorneys? We talking about assistant district attorneys at that. How many assistant district attorneys do you know that just got a crazy name? Like, they got a name like Bill Kunstler out here. Like, yeah, I take heads off in the court. Don't forget, most people cop out. Most people cop out. They not great lawyers, so you point out their mistakes, they make that every case. It's just a matter if you got a lawyer who is going to exploit it. Same thing with the police. The police make mistakes in every case. If you got a lawyer that's actually paying attention, they can exploit them. That's why the rich get off, because they can hire a lawyer who's actually going to be paying attention. Not a lawyer with 50 other cases and they can't really get to your case. BC Rum says, shame can be done unless said person pulls what it says, pulls the well, they're not all the way black and go into the other lineage bag and just let who they may feel is their true so-called race defend their honor. Listen, go ahead and try that. Go ahead and try that. The fact of the matter is, what are you going to do in 2024 when you're planning on running? See, it wasn't them that got you where you at right now. If she wants to play that card, let her play that card. The key is it gets exposed. The key is that it gets exposed in front of all the people's eyes. That's what you're really looking for. You're looking for all the people to see. You look for all the women who, is a woman of color is this and black women is see all of take some of your black girl magic back. What you're saying is a very real possibility. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, but I'm saying make her play that card. Make her play that card and say, well, I'm not black anyway. Make her say that. Make all the people see that she said that. So if our Bill said and you seen they talking about free the Capitol rioters, you know what that sister and countless others don't necessarily fall under the same laws. They protect their own. We largely hate each other. I did see that. I didn't even read into it, but I did see where they wasn't talking about freeing them in the story that I saw in terms of people that already got arrested, but they was talking about not prosecuting, not prosecuting uh, the Capitol rioters because um, like if they beat up an officer or something like that, that's one thing. But see, a lot of them, if they got a little bit of money, they show up with the right lawyer and they start talking about the Constitution and freedom of speech and freedom of assembly and you know uh, just the rights of the people to resist tyranny, et cetera, et cetera. Trust me, this thing will end up growing into something that they don't want to have to deal with in the public. You know what I'm saying? It's not so much of them taking care of their own, but uh, you know, being hostile to the citizens when they telling you that they got a grievance is something that leads to revolution. I gotta give you an example. When they had the Russian Revolution, uh, they had a particular castle called the Winter Palace, and the citizens of Russia showed up at this palace to say, "Yo, listen, we starving out here, life ain't good." They were trying to tell the Tsar, like, "Look, we need you to do something to help us." The Tsar wasn't even at the castle. But what happened is the security forces that was there, they fired on the citizens. And so that became a kind of tipping point where when the people is coming to tell you we got a problem and you too heavy handed with them, that could lead to a bigger revolution. You understand what I'm saying? Or what was that event where Crispus Attucks got shot? The Boston Massacre. That was another situation where the people is coming to protest something and the British Army fired on them. You understand what I'm saying? Or the French Revolution, where the people were saying, "Yo, look, we starving out here," and they was like, "Yeah, let them eat cake," you know. And I'm not in their heads, so I'm not, I can't say 100%, but that's what I read from it is that we got problems in every sector. We had people all out in the streets this summer. We had one side all out in the streets. We don't want the other side to get all out in the streets. So consider that consider that possibility too of why they saying that. Because remember, a lot of them people that was out there, that was the salt, of the earth in Americas. You know what I'm saying? You had all types of civil servants, from police officers to military people, retired military people. You understand what I'm saying? They can't afford to, what I'm saying, be seen as being heavy handed with those people. So, Atif, what you saying? In 2024, who's going to be back again? Kamala? I mean, not if she get exposed. I mean, well, if she get exposed and the people, because I'm not a supporter of her already. I'm just saying in terms of, uh, you know, these are situations. Like these are situations that you got to point out. You see what I'm saying? And then it may not be today, it may not be tomorrow. But see, when, for instance, when the people is getting treated, uh, I guess, with a little bit of heavy hands at the border. You know what I'm saying? The way they was putting the kids in the certain kind of facilities or whatever, you got to be pointing that out as an issue. And see, that's the people who get they stuff put in the first 30 executive orders because they made it known. In reality, y'all ain't from America, man. But they're using uh, the image that America is trying to project of who they are and what they do against them. When they tell them, yo, this is supposed to be America and it's supposed to be like this and it's supposed to be like that, but they got these kids locked up in these facilities and they separating the families and all this different stuff. In reality, that stuff has been happening. But we're going to use it right now against this particular person. BC Ram said, now that part you just said, could this be why they ain't fire on them at the Capitol? Yeah, that's one of the reasons. I'm not going to say that's the sole reason, but yeah, the optics of that, they cannot be seen to be looking worse than Russia. So you got to remember, they got their own thing, what they doing, where, you know, the same way they they play us off for different little separations. You know what I'm saying? You know, light skin, dark skin. Any little uh I wouldn't even say separation, but any little distinction that exists amongst us, right? They use that little thing to drive a wedge in between people. So just to say on an international level, they out there, telling other countries how to conduct their affairs. Like if you notice, did you notice that, stories was coming out how China and Russia and other places that America is always saying, yo, they oppressing their people in one way or the other, they was covering that story. The whole summer they've been covering, yeah, look what's going on in America. Yeah, they talking about the people in Hong Kong. Yeah, what about the people right there in your country? A man in certain positions cannot be made to look ridiculous. So yeah, that's a large part of why they didn't fight. Like you think as they there talking, like before they rush the Capitol, you don't think they saying, yo, what's going on? Yo, I'm an officer too, right? Oh yeah, you officer, where you officer at? Yeah, I'm over here, I'm stationed over here. How long yeah, I've been on the force this long. You think they don't know that? But you cannot have it on the news. Even right now, them having all the military in Washington. Saying you don't see that in America. That's for Iraq. That's for North Korea, man. That's not supposed to. You're not supposed to be for Russia. That's not supposed to be in America. The military is not supposed to be on the street. Remember, that was one of the points in the that was one of the grievances in that was one of the grievances in the Revolutionary War. Is that the British soldiers were stationed in the streets. They could go in your house, take your food, spend the night, all that. These things got to be exposed. They got to be exposed. You see what I'm saying? She needs to be exposed. Self-our bill says so they keep us away from that social equality in those courtrooms by not addressing it and sweeping it the Capitol riot that is under the rug and not let people see their filth. Makes sense? Yeah. Because you got people out there that's gonna come in, right? That, because remember, it's just like they did with the brothers, right? All the brothers, I'm saying the brothers and sisters, including Brianna Taylor, anybody else that I'm forgetting right now, certain names stood out. You know, uh, what did they do? What did they do in all of those cases? Sprinkle a little crack on it. Sprinkle a little crack in all them cases. Oh well, her last boyfriend was a drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? Oh, George Floyd, he used to take drugs. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Ahmaud Arbery is a shoplifter, and he got arrested for smoking weed. Why do they put those stories out there? Because now they can characterize everything a certain way. You see, when they know they're gonna have all these people coming here with no jail record, see now you gotta hear them out about what they're doing here. That happens all the time. Look, we're gonna settle this some other kind of way because we don't want certain things on the minutes in the court. We don't want certain things to come out. I Chief said most of the laws politicians don't write. The lobbyists and the interests wrote them and hand them off. I mean, you know, these is all these is the other levels of politics. Voting, that's the sub basement of voting. I mean of politics. Like that's the smallest possible aspect of politics. That's the least aspect, that you do to have that is going to have the least impact of all the other levels of politicking. You understand what I'm saying? Meaning, like I was saying right now with Kamala Harris in this situation. Okay, you voted, you got to end it. But now they're keeping pressure on her to deal with the issues, right, in the community. That's another level. I mean, you could just look. Time is money. Yeah, you might have to stand online, however long that is to vote. But that's not the amount of time that you got to put in now to go down there and lobby her, like Atif is saying, right? That's not the amount of time it's going to take you to write a law that's going to pertain to police brutality and, who is the person that presents the evidence at the grand jury so that, it could be some justice served. Those is all the other levels, but those levels is necessary, just like anything else. You know, going to the kindergarten and learning your one, two, threes and ABCs, that's the most basic part you could do. You didn't even learn to read yet. You just know how to say the numbers in the alphabet. PC Round said Putin said the same thing back in 2014 about the USA and what was going on at that point. Exactly. Christopher Gooden. These are the times though. These is you know what I'm saying? What is you know, I mean, at least in my opinion, what do y'all think? You know what I'm saying? Do y'all think I'm making a mountain out of a molehill to say that, we got to point out this particular situation where according to the grand jury, right, there was I don't know if the word is corruption, whatever the word is, but the district attorney never presented the option for them to return of an indictment on uh, an indictment for murder, right, in the Brianna Taylor case. The district attorney gave out instructions that the only things you can return an indictment on is reckless endangerment. And then he tried to pass it back off on the jury and say, no, it was the jury that refused the indictment. And now we got Miss Black Girl Magic in there, right? Miss Black Girl Magic, who is a district attorney. And to me, this is one of the main things they got to do. That's one of the main things they need to be called on. Is that look, both of y'all have played, you know, both of y'all have played your part in this prison industrial complex and how it's grown and developed and how it affect our community. See, did you know that with corporations, they got something, it's a concept that corporations use um, called like collateral damage. This is why you see a lot of situations where corporations will be responsible for something and everybody will know they're responsible, but they won't get, uh, there won't be any cases brought against them. Because what they say is, listen, well, what about all the people who work for our company? who didn't have nothing to do with this scandal. If you prosecute us, those people might lose their job. Now, to a certain degree, that's just a threat. Like, what if we tell you, no, no, you can't fire them while you and they're not. You just gotta go out of business. Then. But all of that, that's what they're saying. If we go out of business, then all these people is gonna be out of business, and then the impact that's gonna have, this, that, that. But see, how come as a group we can't say that? Okay, you got to do things different because the collateral damage, the amount of innocent people that's connected to the people that you're brutalizing and locking up for draconian amounts of time, the collateral damage that's leaving to their family, to their communities, is too great for you to pursue that like that. But that's the reason why, for instance, when you seen the 2008 crash and nobody, they didn't really bring, there was a couple of cases, but they didn't bring a whole bunch of cases. That's because they came down there and said, listen, if you prosecute us, people are gonna lose their jobs. So far, Bill said their lack of response is a blatant slap in the face of all these black voters. They set the stage to let it be clear where their loyalties lay. Even it says even Joe stated it was the black vote that did it for the Democrats. You know, uh, you know, uh, rules is no good without penalties. Like if there's not going to be no penalties, there's no need to have no rules. And so, how do we exact a penalty, right? How do we exact a penalty for, them not addressing the situations that they need to address? To me, you know, they have, how they say they got a mandate. Like you said, black voters making a difference gives them, you have a mandate now to undo the damage that y'all have done. I'm talking about Biden and Harris in particular, you know what I'm saying? With the Clinton crime bill, it was things that Biden was involved with before the Clinton crime bill. You know what I'm saying? And Harris in her own corner of the country in California, the things she was doing. So, as y'all can see, I'm making a list right now. We've already got those first 30 executive orders. And now we got this situation, that is, I saw the story. I don't know how much of a situation it's going to be. I don't know if it's, people is back outside protesting in Louisville over that. But for me right now, that's two L's. Hold on, let me put this link in. That's the link right there, of course. For anybody who wants to, anybody that wants to come in. BC Rum asked, "What's up with Harlem and what occurred this week?" What happened in Harlem? I did hear some absolutely crazy stuff earlier this evening. I don't know if that's what you're talking about though. But what you hear happening in Harlem? In the late night, we don't got too much people in here, but do the each one teach one, hit that like button. A female got jumped. Now I didn't you got any details on what happened with that? Who did she get jumped by? I mean, it's New York, people scrap out here all the time. It would have to be something specific about it to really make it rise to the level of news. But I mean, if you're hearing about it all the way in St. Louis, it must have been something of that nature. But it was a group of men. Hmm. And what they say was the deal? Like what what was it related to? At the corner store? I don't know. Hold on, let me see. Let me try to Google. Let me try to Google this. I haven't heard of it. Like you said, was it a girl or a woman? Oh man, it must be big news because it it all I put is woman jump and the whole thing came up. Woman jumped in Harlem. Oh, you know something? This is what I was talking about. And they said they tried to bite her eye or something in a robbery. Oh man, this is crazy. Hold on. Wow. Yo, I heard about this. I did. This is what I was saying. I was saying I heard something that was crazy, but I wasn't even gonna bring that up. But that was a woman. That I didn't hear it was a woman. The 31-year-old woman who wishes to remain anonymous had entered a Harlem liquor store to make a purchase when three young men asked her to retrieve liquor for them. After politely declining to do so, she was followed and subsequently attacked right outside the store. The surveillance camera captured the attack. The woman said she was punched, kicked, and her face was bitten. I was more, this is more than being bitten, she said. Oh man. Wait, was this the thing? This must have been the thing that the God I be was saying he was going to by the state building. man. You know, that's the sad state. That's the sad state of the community right now in terms of people understanding they roles in the community. You know what I'm saying? Of people caring about the community, you know what I'm saying? And once this is see, because that's the patriarchy. I'm saying the patriarchy is what, says, yo, look, don't do that, to no woman, or just pick on somebody your own size. You know what I'm saying? But without that kind of just sense of rules, that sense of morals, you know what I'm saying? You know, just see, it's just like when brothers say, look, no snitching. Some people may agree or disagree with it, but it's the same way when the police arrest you, right? And they tell you, well, look, I don't really care about this, what you're doing, but look, the law is the law. And once we don't have the rule of law, you know what I'm saying? Now we in Savage Town. You know what I'm saying? And you never know. I don't know if these dudes is on the K-12 or whatever's all the stuff that people is taking right now, because that's another thing that's running rampant out here. But with that, I guess some more of the story is gonna have to come out. You know what I'm saying? Right now, I would say, yeah, that's quite despicable. But what you said, is other sites and content creators speaking on it? Like, have they done some research where they added on some more information than what I just read in that link? Because like I said, I just heard about it earlier today. Not even today, like it's really a couple hours ago. I just heard about it. But people have been bugging out. I heard it was something too that happened in was it Indianapolis? Somebody killed a family, like six people. Like an unborn baby was killed and everything. So right now, mental, just whoa. California may have its own highly contagious homegrown COVID-19 strain. So everybody got just pretty much the information that I just read, you saying? Yeah, pregnant woman among six killed in Indianapolis mass murder. That was another story that I seen today. So yes, things is happening out there. You know, the it's starting to crack, starting to crack. So people just saying what should be done to those that's responsible. I mean, man, and what's the verdict on what they said should be done? Self-Help Bill said this is what happens when you take away male figures from the household and feminize males. When I grew up in Brooklyn in the 80s, you would get thrashed for dishing your elders even slightly. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you another thing that's taken away, public shame. Like it's a difference when, uh, somebody's just doing what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? That only affects them. Like you want to live your life how you want to live it, and it's other people that you living in cooperation with whatever whoever those people is. Then I don't have to shame you, but I'm saying the shame to say you was a part of some things. Like, where do you go now? Like, do you go on YouTube and brag that you banged on this lady or whatever the terminology you want to use? Just that you would be embarrassed to say that you was a part of that. It's like a lot of times, I always think that we hear people say, I don't have no regrets. You know, that's probably a fucked up person. Now, don't get me wrong. I said this before. Everybody may not live the particular life, of everybody else. So maybe you didn't do things that was of that nature. But some of the people you hear saying that, you don't regret none of that shit you did. You're a fucked up person. You gotta at least regret the impact, what I'm saying, that it had on some people who might not even been involved. Or in this case right here, where somebody's totally innocent. This is a woman walking to the store. From what the story says right there, this is the way they portraying it is that these is probably some young kids that's under 21. They don't have ID. You know what I'm saying? And the woman, said she didn't want to, get them the alcohol that they wanted. You know, now of course the way they portraying it right there, it could have been some other words. We don't know. But at the same time, it's just to me that's what public shame is. Where public shame comes in, man. Just in yourself, man. You should be ashamed. Knowledge. The Lord said we didn't play that in Cream City where elders was around, whole conversation switch up on the bus or outdoors, wherever we were. Yeah, but all of that's part of the patriarchy that's been destroyed, or at least is in the midst of being destroyed. This they look at it as being too rigid, but this structure for life that's created by rules. So if our Bill said it's them same cats when they get locked up, put on lipstick and do strange things for soups and chips. That's facts. But we'll see that. Even that, what you just said right there, that's another factor. At one time, like yeah, you couldn't come into the jail with no charge like that. All of these things where it's that you gotta deal, you gotta deal with the consequences of what you did. But that appears to be something that's on the rise right now. They had another situation not too long ago where some kids they destroyed this man's BMW. And he was driving. I can't recall what exactly sparked it off, but they start jumping all on the hood of his car and hitting the windshield with their bikes and all type of stuff. And the dude, whoever he was, he was a he had enough kindness in his heart where he didn't just slam on the gas. So that's a whole other aspect. You know, uh, we gotta hold ourselves accountable too. Which is these are two different topics, but it's the same kind of thing. And it's what I'm saying is that okay, as a community, what I'm saying, we gotta, stop. Some people gotta get their car revoked. You can't be a part of us doing that kind of thing. But that's definitely one. I keep my eye out for that story right there to see how that proceeds, man. But that's a rough one right there, man. Bit the lady in her face. Who even does that? I don't think I've even heard that before. Like where three people was jumping one person and they bit the person that was getting jumped. Like that's, you know, uh, generally speaking, that's like a desperation move right there. Crazy. But anybody got any other thing they want to add on? I got anything they want to add on? Uh, otherwise, we wind this one down. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all do the each one teach one, and hit the like button, and make sure you go. Make sure you share this on your pages. Because we got to get the word out about this district attorney that you know he can indict a ham sandwich, but he can't indict a pig. Yeah, I mean, and this is a hotel channel. You know what I'm saying? But biking and stuff like that amongst girls, that's pulling hair, this type of stuff that they do. You know what I'm saying? This is not men. That's what I'm saying. Like men would be ashamed, like if we came back for something, be like, yo, man, this dude bit the dude. That would be like you'd be a laughing stock. And you did what? Hey, wait a minute, y'all was jumping somebody, taking a cell phone drugs, and you bit the person? What explain, son. You say you start in the first degree and the 1 in 40. Do you have any suggestions for that degree? I mean, same thing every time, man. You know, repetition. You know, the the thing is, in this day and time, like I said, you got to get the repetition in more by yourself. See, when I was, just getting it now, and I was, especially in the 1 in 40 and all of that, it's like, I was gonna be, to be in, 10 ciphers a day, 15 ciphers. I'm talking about just where, you walk over there to the pizza shop and brothers having a cipher. You know what I'm saying? You walk up to White Plains Road, brothers having a cipher. You know what I'm saying? You get to school in the morning, you get to the lunchroom, you in the hallway, sir, is you constantly going through the degrees. And so it's being drilled into you. Just repetition. PC Realm said in St. Louis, they trying to improve drones for use in high crime areas to prevent crimes from occurring. Now, what kind of drones are they talking about? Because that's one thing they use drones as like a blanket term, but you got drones that's like the size of a mosquito all the way up to you know full size airplanes. Like when they tell you that look, this drone bombed this place over here. They dropped a bomb from a drone and it killed this person or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's that's most times you're talking about a full size plane, all the way to you got drones the little kids play with. So when they say drones, have y'all asked them what they mean by that? VC Realm said a bunch of privacy violations I can see arising, and not many crimes being halted, but more so if said drone catches dirty police, will they prosecute? Hmm. So they trying to have these drones out within 1 year. But y'all haven't has have you seen anything about what kind of drone this is supposed to be? What will the drone be equipped with? Like, is it gonna have guns? Is there gonna be like a net where the drone can fly over the criminal and drop the net on him until the police get there? Like, what have they said anything about? All of those different characteristics. Or is it just flying past with a camera and somebody's monitoring it at the station to see if anything is occurring? And how many drones? Yeah, y'all definitely better find out what's going on with that. You know, uh, this is another type of thing. Somebody need to speak to Miss Black Girl Magic and let her know that, look, if you're dealing with this police and prison reform, these are the kind of things we need you to look into and make sure this is going to actually be beneficial to us. Don't say nothing about armed drones. Yeah, the devil is in the details. By the way, God is in the details too, but that's not who's putting the drones up there. Did they say anything about where they're getting the drones from? Did they get the drones from that program where the police department gets the military equipment? So you find it strange that it's more talks on it being that the city has a female mayor and a Democrat. Is it a black woman or a white woman? Yeah, that is a very peculiar story. I mean, it would be a little more difficult to implement that in New York, in my opinion. Um, but that's definitely the type of thing where uh, if somehow that's deemed to be successful, right? That's the kind of thing that you would see get expanded out. You know what I'm saying, to other cities that might have a similar kind of layout. But definitely that's something to stay up on, man. I mean, what kind of cameras, is it gonna have cameras that can see through walls and so the mayors are white women. I don't know, man. We see what happens. That's definitely something to stay on top of, though. Uh, all of us need to pay attention to that. Because if it's successful here, it could be coming to a town near you in no time. Other than that, like I said, hit the like button, share this on your other pages. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take it down right now. Y'all know I'll be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. for the civilization class. You know what I'm saying? Tune in, everybody. And in the meantime, in between time, I'm gonna say peace.